Hi, my name's Tom, and I'm in a weird part of my house. This is the very center of my house. I'm actually in the stairs landing going down to my basement. So I have a three-story house. Second floor, first floor is where I'm at right now, and then stairs that go down to my basement. And this area, this door actually leads out to my first floor. There you go, laundry room back there in the foyer. However, here, behind this door, this basement door, is a storage area. This is a pegboard system set up by the previous owner of the house, and it was probably set up a good 20 or 30 years ago, judging from the scallops and the build of it. But I've kind of gotten away from using it as using pegboards and just putting in these magnet bars, which are actually pretty cheap, and I use them a lot for tools. This is a perfect place for tools for me because if I have to work in the basement, I have a lot of my tools ready. If I have to work outside or on the first or second floor, I have a lot of my tools ready. So I don't store my tools in the garage or in the basement. I store bulk of my actual hand tools here in this area. But as you can see, it's getting a little busy, a little crowded. I have to clean up a little bit, organize a little bit better, but also have a lot of wasted space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out and I'm going to build a really, really simple tool storage area using magnet bars. So that's the project for today. So the first thing I have to do is kind of clean this junk out. I'm going to take all these tools off. I'm going to take off the bag holders for now. I'm going to go ahead and remove this thing, which might actually be more work than anything else. And then I'm going to put up a system, a better storage system that's actually relatively affordable and relatively simple. So I'm going to go do that now. Here's my tool setup with all of the tools on it right now. I have to take all the tools off first. That's actually going to be a fair bit of work. And here we go. After all the tools are off, all I have is this small pegboard with some magnet bars on it. I'm going to take those magnet bars off and reuse them. And here's the actual wall. The pegboard was held up with just 2 screws, so I took them out, the whole thing came down, and we're ready to go. Hi, so here I am. I tried to film this, but it's a tight space and I don't have the angle on the camera. But what I have right now is a board. This is 11/32 thick plywood. You can get it. I was actually looking for something a little thicker, but my local big box store didn't have any, so I went with this stuff. And what I'm actually doing is I've put them up with cabinet screws. So I actually had a box of cabinet screws sitting around, and I drove them right into the studs. I marked the studs, put them in. I'll probably put maybe 2 more, maybe not, I'm not sure. And then here's the second piece I haven't put on yet. I'm just kind of holding it up and kind of getting it there. And this is going to be nice and big. Up there goes my level. So it's nice and level. I'm going to have a nice, great, big, large area of plywood to work with. And then after I put this second board up, I'm going to go ahead and start putting up the magnet bars. Okay, and now I've put up my first row of magnets, and you can see right here, it's about 6 foot, 6'1", so this is probably about 6'5" in the air. It is a little higher than my head, but that's okay. Everybody in my family's tall. We can now reach up and grab the screwdrivers whenever we want to. They pop right off real nice and easily, and then they pop back on easily as well. However, I use a single bar of magnets here, and that's fine. But heavier tools like this crescent wrench, they'll go, but they'll kind of slide a little bit. They're not real secure. That's okay. If I bump it, it might fall off. Hammers, wrenches, bigger tools, they will tend to fall off of a single bar. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a second line of magnets, but I'm going to put 2 of them together. So I'm going to put a vertical bar all the way, or a horizontal bar all the way across, but I'm going to use 2 bars of magnets so that if I have 2, I can kind of really stick it to it nice and well. It'll stick there well. I can pop it back off real nice and easily. But what I wanted to do first, I purposely wanted to put most of my screwdrivers up here to kind of see how much spacing I have. So if I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a second bar or a second line of magnets in here, I have to kind of make sure that I don't put it too close so I'm not overlapping. So now that I've done this, it's just a little grabber thing, I can kind of put it, so if I put a bar, I don't know, right here, in this area here, across, that should be fine for up and down, knowing full well that I might still have some tall stuff up here, some tall stuff down here. But a second bar right here in the middle of this piece of wood will work well, so that's what I'm going to do now. And here we are a week later, and I've completed my tool shelf, or my tool rack for the moment. So here's the upper magnets again, but here's the lower magnets. These are the ones that I actually just put in. There are 2 rows of magnets, and they hold the heavier things and some of the smaller things as well. They will hold hammers. They'll stay just fine. They just pop right off. I did put a little space in there so I have a little more space to kind of move things around, and then if I'm strategic, I can take the actual nubs of the tools and put it in there and make it a little more closer to the magnet side. I still have a little extra space here. I might just leave that open because I went ahead and I got some dollar store bins and just screwed them into the plywood. Right now it doesn't have much. It has some levels and things that I probably could hang up. But what I've often found is that I find myself with piles of screws that I don't have anything to do with. I'll toss them in there and then eventually I'll go ahead and clean them up and put them where they belong. Little canisters of oil or chemicals or little things that I'm working with, I'll throw in there. Just something to kind of hold stuff. It purposely does not have holes in it so that if I have something that leaks, it'll stay in the plastic bin and not leak down to the rest of the tool shelf or the tool rack. Then I went ahead and I got some cheapy hooks. I'll kind of move down here. I got some cheapy hooks from the dollar store. And I just kind of screwed them in. Those for tapes and lights and other tools I can hang off of there. Some more magnets. I actually don't know what I'm going to do with these yet, but I'll find something, I'm sure. It's one of those things like a closet. Once you get a closet, you will fill it up. And then, even though I said I was not going to, I actually found some pegboards, plastic pegboard. I actually found it at a yard sale. They were $1 a piece, so I thought, all right, I'll pick up 2 of them, and they were standard, so I knew that already. And I'm going to use that for some hooks for some of the old things, like some duct tape we have hanging around, little wires. And I have that whole section of hooks, I have a bag of hooks that wouldn't fit on the old pegboard that I will eventually go ahead and mount here. So I'll go ahead and I'll end with a quick photo of it, a before and an after. But all I really did was this dead space in my house where I had a small pegboard with some tools. Again, this is beyond my basement door here. I took that down and I just put up 2 large pieces of plywood, and that kind of allows me to then go ahead and do whatever I want to this wall. And in this case, I put up a bunch of magnet bars, screwed in some baskets, and a little bit of pegboard down at the bottom. This is before, where I had a bunch of tools crammed into a small space. And this is after, where I have plenty of space to grow and everything is organized.